Today we're talking about the ultimate exercise. The opposite of the ultimate exercise would be pickleball. But this is the opposite of that, which is the ultimate guitar exercise. So today we're gonna do some stuff in the people's key of G, and we're gonna do some chord voicings that will spill over into some lead playing, just some general fretboard knowledge in a way that I don't really see talked about that much. And that's with these little pieces of chord voicings, all right? So first of all, this video is sponsored by Fessli. I'm using the Fessli FLP350, which we're gonna be talking about throughout this lesson. But yeah, super cool, inexpensive guitar that sounds really good. So the people's key is the key of G, all right? Now, G major is the first chord in the key of G. Lots of times people play it like this. Other times people play a bar chord like this. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna play just a piece of that bar chord. So I wanna play it as an E major shape, all right? Now E major is open E, 2A, 2D, 1G, open B, and open E. Now we're just gonna do that. We're gonna do it 5, 5, and 4 on the A, D, and G strings, okay? So again, we're just gonna focus on the A, D, G string for right now to play a G major like this, okay? Now the cool thing is all the open strings are gonna be in this key. So we can actually get the open strings on top of this if we want to, but I'm gonna slow it down right here just by grabbing this G major chord. Now I rarely see people play a G major like this, but I think it has a lot of utility because it's a shape you're already familiar with, and you can go into the next chords in this key with just one variation, which really has a lot to do with music theory and stuff like that, right? So the first chord in any key is going to be a major chord, and any major key is a major chord, right? We'll do this in a couple different keys, but I want to start in the people's key, key of G. Now, if we go 2 frets higher, we end up with a minor chord. This is going to be A minor, the 2 chord in the key of G. If G is the first letter in the scale, G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp in G. A is the second note. The second note is always a minor chord, okay? Now we can use that same shape, 2 frets higher, but now we're gonna flatten the third. Your middle finger is where the third was in that G shape, right? So 2 frets higher, and then flatten it. Now I've got 7A, 7D, and 5G. Okay, so this is gonna be a minor chord. I don't really see this chord voicing used that much. It's really just kind of like an E minor chord down here, but I wanna play it just right here. Now the cool thing about this one specifically is when you slide into it, I think it has like a really cool sound, right? So the 1 chord, 2 chord. Now the reason I like these voicings for myself is I do a lot of finger style stuff, right? Where maybe my thumb is hitting the A string and then my pointer finger and middle finger are getting the D and the G strings. So I can kind of play like a... And I think that's just a cool sound, right? That is a little bit different than using traditional G major to A minor chord voicings, okay? Now, I said that you can use the open strings for this key, but when we start moving it to other keys, you're gonna see how these closed voicings, a voicing that doesn't use an open string, is really gonna be helpful in moving shapes around. But I wanna do one more shape here, well, same shape, but 2 frets higher. This is the 3 chord in the key. This is a B minor. Okay, so 9A, 9D, 7G. So again, a minor third is the distance between the D strings note and the G strings note when you go 2 frets back. See how I did that? So again, I'm doing a little bit of a lead technique now because I can kind of see, all right, in this G area it's 5, 5, 4. Right here in the A minor area it's 7, 7, 5. The B minor area is 9, 9, 7. Maybe I can use that as like a lick, turn it into a lick, right? And then I can kind of end up resolve back home on G, okay? So these are the voicings that I want to focus on with the A, D, and G strings. Now we can play the other chords in this key just by going down a string. Now I'm gonna play the 4, 5, and 6 chords on the D, G, and B string, okay? So, real quick, let's go through them. The nice thing about this is a C major chord, okay? It's kind of shorthand for this double bar chord on 3A555, but I'm just playing, and I can I can do that kind of finger style right there, and then just go down 2 frets to get a D major chord, C major to D major. And then now that I'm here with my pointer finger, I can just drop these fingers down to make an A minor shape, but all the way here at E minor. So we've gone through a lot of information already. We've got all 6 main chords in the key of G. And again, traditionally it would be G major is the 1 chord, A minor is 2, B minor is 3, C major is 4, D major is 5, and E minor is 6. But now we're playing it like this. 1 chord, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then we can end up back on 1, which again is that just the 12th fret, okay? So a lot of information already. While you're processing all that, let's talk about the pickups on this cool Fastly guitar. This is super inexpensive. The front and the back is awesome. I love the matte finish. I feel like it looks really great on camera with that. Dual humbuckers, it's a 3-way switch. What I like here is the knobs are volume, volume, tone. So this is the volume of the neck, this is the volume of the bridge, and then this is tone for both. So when I'm in rhythm, I can kind of turn this off, and you're not going to hear anything on the bridge pickup. Now if I'm in the middle, I can have a blend if I have them both up. I can turn the neck off, and now I've just got the bridge. Or I can turn the neck all the way up. So again, now it's like just like what the neck would be, but I can start blending the bridge in with the volume of the bridge. And the cool thing about that is I can maybe add a little bit of dirt to my signal just by driving my amp with the volume of that. Or I could just go straight bridge. Right? I'm a sucker for the neck pickup, so I can just turn the volume off on the bridge and then I'm never going to hear it, right? But again, it's cool because it's like a very simple thing. I also love that it has binding, and again, the price is super, super right. So thank you to Fastly for sending this over, sponsoring the video. If you guys want to check it out, there's an affiliate link in the description of this video. So let's go back to talking about how maybe we can make some cool lead lines or licks from the 4, 5, and 6 chord. All right, let's clean that up, back off the volume a little bit. Right, I always like thinking of this spot as the 4 and the 5 chord, just 5, 5, 5, 7, 7, 7, and then making a little scale because it's 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 7. So again, just like with these, 1, 2, 3 chord, now I can start making something that sounds a little bit more pentatonic bluesy, but I'm coming at it from a chord as compared to a scale. So now I can maybe start doing stuff like that, where I'm just like, all right, just the 5th and 7th fret, anything goes. And all of that comes from my knowledge of these chord voicings. Okay? And this is just in one key, the people's key. The interval, the space between all of these chords is going to be true no matter what key you're in. One of my favorite keys is the key of A major, right? We can think of all of this in relation to what we just learned and just bring it 2 frets higher, because A is 2 frets higher than G, right? If G is the people's key, A is the angel's key. So I can do the same thing. I can just be like, all right, where's my A? 5th fret on the E string. I can do that whole same thing starting from here now. Now it's 7, 7, 6, and then you guessed it. And all that stuff kind of just fits together like a puzzle piece. Doesn't matter any key you're in. Even if you're in your key that you're not super familiar with, like, I don't know, like B, that would just be another 2 frets higher. We could just find the B here. And then just kind of go on and back from there. right? So a lot of these connections can be made from just thinking of the space between them. But aside from that, this is a really perfect way to start learning a lot of songs, right? If you've been watching YouTube, you've probably seen something like that one chord progression that every song uses and how to play it. What that is usually a 1-5-6-4 chord progression. All right, if you don't know what that means, now you know, because we have the chords here. Let's go back to the people's key, the key of G. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 1, 5, 6, 4, we can kind of discern from what we just did. We have the 1. It's like, all right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1, 5, 6. Remember, it was right after this. 4. Again, I always think Journey, Don't Stop Believin' from that, right? That's the first thing off the bat, but there's a million songs that use that chord progression. But I think it's more fun to just kind of experiment around. My favorite kind of go-to chord progression is anything that avoids the one chord, right? There's a little more mystery to it. I think it's a little more artsy, right? And I'm a artsy guy, so I like to go maybe just 6-5-4. Let's just focus on that second group of 3 chords that we did right here. And maybe I'll just arpeggiate it by playing it one note at a time. Then back to 5. And then maybe I can start adding notes in between them by finding those notes in between. So I'm gonna put it on the bridge. We're gonna add a little bit of dirt to it, right? So I'll turn that up. And then I'm gonna go 6, 5, 4. Again, all of that is just taken from these 3 chord voicings, and then not only seeing them as separate individual chords, but then I can track the notes that lead from one chord to another. And then once you start seeing the relationship between chords, I think it's a lot easier to remember chord progressions, to remember how to play solos, because your ear is getting better by finding the intervals that connect all of them. And then just being a more well-versed musician in general, right? So that is why it is always good to have an extra guitar lying around. If you need a good one that isn't gonna break the bank, check out the Festly guitar. I will have an affiliate link in the description. Thank you again to them for sending this one over. Again, really love the matte finish, and the humbuckers sound really good. They're also super quiet. I've gotten a lot of, kind of less expensive guitars, and the one thing that they all have in common, except for this one, is they're super noisy. Again, this is going into a tube amp that's pretty loud. The volume is all the way on. I don't hear a thing. So these, right? On, off, on, off. Super silent, right? I've seen guitars that are literally 3 to 4 times the price of this, and I cannot stand it because the humbuckers still make noise even though they're supposed to be humbuckers. So great job to them by sending this over. Also comes with the gig bag and some extra kind of cool stuff in the kit. So yeah, if you liked the video, let me know in the comments and maybe give me an idea of what other stuff you guys would like to see, and I will talk to you all soon. Thanks a lot.